Thinking back to my time in high school, I vividly remember the busy halls, the scent of cafeteria food, and the seemingly endless school days, and turning into the music department hallway on a daily basis to go to band class. Going down the hallway, you could always see friends from music classes working on projects together, practicing their instrument, and making music together. This space was where my friends and I sat during lunch, volunteered with the band, and got ready for football games in our marching band uniforms, and made countless memories. I was very fortunate that I went to a school that prioritized the fine arts and gave students the opportunities I was able to have. However, many students may not have these opportunities due to the impending threats of budget cuts to the fine arts both in the Lexington area and the United States as a whole. This is Katie DeWitt, a first-year music education student at the University of Kentucky. In this podcast, I will uncover how fine arts programs in schools holistically benefit students' education and should be spared from schools' increasingly tight budgets. A common misconception about school fine arts programs is that it will take away from a student's academics. Some parents and administrators believe that students will focus too much time painting, practicing an instrument, or running lines for a play, and it will eventually cause their grades to slip. However, multiple studies have shown that students who are involved in the fine arts actually have a higher grade point average and standardized testing scores than their non-artistic counterparts. In the book, Why Our Schools Need the Arts, author and researcher Jessica Hoffman Davis explains that involvement in the fine arts is not mutually exclusive with academic success. SAT scores in 2012 revealed that students involved in music programs scored 31 points above average on the reading and writing portions of the exam and 23 points above average in math, according to the National Association for Music Education. The arts are more than just extracurriculars, they are brain stimulators. I was fortunate enough to interview University of Kentucky music education professor Dr. Michael Hudson and ask him some questions about these topics. Here's what he said about music and academics.
You know, students in music programs tend to be some of the highest achieving students in the school. And I think one reason that is because there are so many, there's a lot of students who do well academically involved in this one thing. Yeah. And it happens to be whether it's choir, music, or but there's a lot of them. So they're connected in a way. Showing those connections to other things like math, science, art, language should help inform your learning of other subject areas. Music lights up the brain in a lot of ways, like I said, with language and that stimulates things. I had a professor in grad school who talked about transfer of knowledge, meaning that how can we relate something to something else so that we can learn it faster? Right. So, for instance, before you run, you've got to walk. Right. So you're walking. That transfer of what you do when you walk informs what you're doing when you're running. I think teachers need to teach transfer. Mm-hmm. And I think that when we share that, when we show students that what you learned here can create a shorter path to here, right, that certainly improves academics.
It has been proven that the focused, repetitive practice of a skill, especially a musical instrument, can increase the firing speed of the neurons in your brain. Greg Goodhart wrote the article, Why Music Education Matters in Academics. It May Not Be What You Think, which appears in the American String Teacher Research Journal. This article compiles multiple studies which prove that the myelin sheath, a membrane that surrounds the neuron and acts like an insulation for the electric pulses fired between neurons, gets thicker every time an action is repeated. More insulation allows electricity to travel faster, therefore causing actions to be performed quicker and with more accuracy. Many of the skills needed to execute a musical task carry over to other academic subject areas. With this approach, students who study music tend to be more successful in their studies because they internalize a process that works to gain mastery of a subject, and they are able to apply it to all aspects of their lives. In addition to the important academic benefits arts education provides, it also gives students the resources to expand and enrich social and emotional elements of their lives. The fine arts provide students a break in their day to spend time doing something they enjoy with the people they like to spend time with. The saying, birds of a feather flock together, is especially true for students in the fine arts. One of my good friends from high school, Melinda Coleman, is a music education major at the University of North Texas. Currently in the midst of her junior year studies, I asked her a few questions about her experiences with the fine arts throughout her school career, and this is what she had to say about the social aspects of the fine arts.
And in high school, most of my good friends were involved in band or in music one way or another. And at this point, I don't really remember, did I make them in band, did I make them outside of band? But at some point, we all were in band, whether or not that was how we became friends. But it definitely kept us friends, because we had something to relate about, something to connect about. Band kids talk about band all the time.
I asked Dr. Hudson a similar question about his musical experiences and what he remembers from his school music background. His response was extremely similar.
So during that time, I made a lot of friends. Being in band or orchestra or choir is, first of all, it's a social experience. And it was that social experience that had such a profound effect on me because those were all my friends. Mm-hmm. That's the place I went to before school. It was the place I went to after school. It was, my girlfriends over the year, they're all in band. And so it's a small little community and you become very, very close. So you have that socialization, and then on top of it, you've got this unique thing that you're doing, which is making music.
The community aspect is such a strong reason why people remain in music programs throughout their lives, not only in high school. A study done by Wendy K. Matthews, a prolific music education researcher, found that within a college marching band season, rehearsal effectiveness hit a low, but members still found great joy from being in marching band. Why was this? Matthews found that when stress levels ran high, with schoolwork piling up and midterms around the corner, members of a marching band still enjoy and prioritize being together and fostering relationships through their shared love of music. It is important for students, especially new college students, to feel as though they belong in a group, and marching band provides that opportunity. Fine arts programs also give students a higher sense of responsibility and ownership through leadership and teaching opportunities unavailable in other academic areas. Upperclassmen students in band are expected and encouraged to pass down knowledge ranging from techniques on their instrument to how to survive certain high school classes. Melinda describes her experience of how marching band helped her find her voice and confidence within her 4 years of high school.
The first VMB, 8th grade clinic day, do you want to do marching band? And we get there and they're doing these vocal commands, band 1, band 10 hut, and everyone's shouting the responses, and 8th grade me is terrified because I never raised my voice like that. Over high school, I came to realize, this is just how we do it here. And that made it sound like it took forever, and it was actually probably just sophomore year, and I'm yelling band 10 huts hit really loudly with everybody. And then we get to the point where by the end of high school, I'm a drum major calling out the vocal commands, and I never would have guessed that I would do that. Band really helped me come out of my shell, be comfortable with being loud, be more confident in myself, and make me a better leader.
These 4 years of high school marching band impacted Melinda in huge ways, and she recognizes how her experiences helped her grow to become a better leader and teacher. However, not everyone who is in band goes on to become a music teacher. So how does this impact students who choose not to pursue music? According to Dr. Hudson, regardless of major, experience, or qualification, we all have or will experience moments in which we teach others throughout our lives.
We're all teachers in some way, Who were our first teachers? Our parents. I'm a father, I have a young son, and I'm teaching him every day. So it just comes down to, are we teaching the right things? Are we teaching good things?
Access to arts education can provide the tools for students to be teaching the right things. According to Jessica Hoffman-Davis, students involved in the fine arts are more empathetic, they tend to display higher emotional intelligence, and have a greater regard for others and the world around them. We need students who are willing to tackle large social issues, who can see past themselves, and who do not fit the mold of a society that only means to contain creativity. The fine arts are a gateway to educating and encouraging these future leaders. Now we must be faced with the question, so ultimately, why do the arts matter? Here's Melinda's response.
There's beauty in music and in art. It takes skill to create both of those, and society is better for it. Everyone appreciates art, music, film. It brings a little extra value to life. And we can't continue to have that if we don't teach it. so we have to teach art and music.
The fine arts give opportunities to students that cannot be provided through any other means. Even this podcast only covers a few of the many benefits of fine arts education. The academic success experienced by students involved in fine arts programs is unparalleled with any other activity in American schools. Students gain increased emotional intelligence and empathy skills. The way that students bond over their shared love for the arts can create friendships which last a lifetime. School fine arts programs teach more than just music notes, painting strokes, or lines in a play. They give students invaluable life lessons along the way. This is Katie DeWitt from the University of Kentucky. Thank you for listening.